All right, well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's virtual school showcase for the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. My name is Devin Thompson. I'm Senior Associate Director for Admissions Events at the College of Charleston, and we are thrilled to have you all join us. A big congratulations, you all are our newest admitted students, and we look forward to speaking with you all tonight about this wonderful school. A few housekeeping notes. If you haven't already, please make sure that you mute your microphones. We want to really reduce background noise this evening. But again, since it is an admitted student event, you may want to see each other. So feel free to keep your cameras on if you'd like to. We'll also be taking questions during a live Q&A at the end. So after each panelist speaks this evening, if you have any specific questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. And like I said, we'll reach them at the end of the event. But with that, I'm pleased to now introduce you all to the Dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, Dr. Gibbs Knotts. Gibbs.
Thank you very much, Devin. And so I'm so excited to be here. Welcome to our virtual showcase for School of Humanities and Social Sciences. I have the privilege of serving as Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences, but I'm also a political science professor. And I'm teaching one of my favorite classes this coming fall, Southern Politics. So definitely check that out. I want to congratulate you, just as Devin did, on being accepted at the College of Charleston. We're so thankful that you're considering this outstanding university. We know you have a lot of great choices. And so I want to congratulate you on that. Kind of our agenda for tonight is for me to give you a very quick overview of our school. I wanted to say a few basic things. I've got 3 slides. It'll be the shortest PowerPoint presentation I've ever given in my life. And then I want to turn things over to our faculty panel. One of the things that makes HSS so great are the outstanding faculty, and you're going to see that here tonight. And we're asking our faculty to talk about an area where they really excel in, but also we think the School of Humanities and Social Sciences excels in. We're going to have time for your questions, as Devin said, and then kind of towards the end of our time, maybe around 6:45, 6:50 or so, 6:55, you're going to have the opportunity to go into a smaller Zoom meeting with a representative, a faculty leader from an academic department. And so if you're interested in political science, there'll be somebody from political science faculty that you can talk with. If you're interested in women's and gender studies, there'll be somebody from women's and gender studies. And so that's the agenda for today. But let me just start out by saying that we've got about a 10-slide presentation. I'm going to stick with 3, but our Associate Dean, Dr. Amanda Ruth McSwain, is going to put the link to this so you can check the slideshow out. And there's some great videos that you can also access, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the school. We're the largest school at the College of Charleston. All the students take classes through our general education program. We have amazing faculty that love to teach. They provide a high level of personalized attention. And back in that previous slide, if you can go back to that for a second, Amanda, that's Dr. Jen Wilhelm. She's a psychology professor. She's a phenomenal mentor. She brings students into her lab to gain valuable hands-on experiences. And really across HSS, whether it's in the Department of Philosophy or the Department of Psychology, our goal is to help students foster creative problem solving, critical thinking, superior written and oral communication skills, and intercultural competence. All of our students are prepared for a variety of careers, as well as for graduate and professional schools. So on to slide 2, what I wanted to say here is just to tell you about the great majors that we have. We've got 11 different majors in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. Our largest majors are psychology, communication, and political science. And to give you a sense, a typical major is about 36 credit hours. That's 12 3-hour classes. So a lot of our students choose to double major or to minor. And we've got some great minors at the College of Charleston as well. And I've got those listed on this next slide here. And it's not something you have to do. You don't have to choose a minor. But we've got some really, really great minors. If you can major in something, you can also minor in it. And so for some students that are really torn between 2 majors, a popular option is to pick a major and to also pick a minor. We have some really cool interdisciplinary minors. 2 of our biggest ones are crime law and society. And we also have an interdisciplinary minor in environmental and sustainability studies. And we've got a new minor that I'm very excited about. It's interdisciplinary as well. It's in medical humanities. And minors are usually about half the size as majors. They're 18 hours, that's 6 3-hour classes. So as I mentioned, the student experience in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences centers around these unique opportunities to interact with our talented faculty. These are life-changing study abroad experiences, internship experiences that really jumpstart a student's career. Our faculty work one-on-one with our students to help support and enhance their academic journey. I mean, there's no big 300-400 person classes here. Faculty know the students in their class and they're really excited to work with them and collaborate with them. And so we have 5 HSS faculty with us here tonight, and let me introduce them all, and then we'll go and give them a chance to talk a little bit about their areas. And the first is Professor Sarah Hatteberg, and she's an assistant professor of sociology, and she's going to talk about opportunities for students and faculty to do research together. Undergraduate research is a big thing at College of Charleston, and Professor Hatteberg is going to talk some about that. We also have Professor Gary Jackson. He's an associate professor in the Department of English, and he's going to talk some about student advising and mentoring. He's a great student advisor, and talk a little bit about what a faculty advisor does and how he advises and mentors students. The third faculty member is Professor Celeste LaCroix. She's a professor in the Department of Communication, and she is a study abroad guru. She knows all about study abroad. She's taken I can't even know the amount, tons of students to different study abroad experiences around the world. And she's going to talk some about the opportunities from a faculty perspective. Then we have Professor Jonathan Neufeld. He's an associate professor in philosophy, and he's going to talk some about some of the extracurricular opportunities and co-curricular opportunities, student organizations, including an aesthetics group that he supervises in the Department of Philosophy. And then finally, Sarah Robertson, who's an associate professor of psychology, who's going to talk about internships. Again, we really push internships. We really like to see our students get internship experiences, work experiences, whether they're for credit or not. We definitely like to see our students think some about what they'd like to do after college and also get some of that valuable experience. And so again, I'm going to ask Professor Hatteberg to go first. But if you have a question, please put it in the chat, and we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A. But again, thank you for being here and congratulations.
Okay, so let me see if I can screen share here. Okay, can you all see a slideshow with a light bulb? Awesome. So hi everyone, and welcome to the College of Charleston, and specifically to the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. I'm really excited to meet you all and excited to field your questions later. My name is Sarah Hatteberg, and I am an assistant professor of sociology, and I'm trained as a medical sociologist, but I'm also really interested in studies related to college student health and well-being, athlete health and well-being, and generally just anything related to health, stress, and mental health is kind of up my interest alley. So I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about some of the great research opportunities I've had the chance to work with students on, and just share with you a bit about some of the opportunities you might be interested in pursuing. So here are some examples of student faculty research that I have had the opportunity to be involved in. So I'm not going to read all of these different titles to you, but these are just some of the projects that students have approached me about starting. And these projects are ones that they're on topics I probably would not have pursued on my own had it not been for students coming to either me or to a colleague of mine who I do a lot of research with, and saying, you know, we really want to do this project, but we don't know where to start. And so some of the things I've had the chance to look into because of these opportunities are experiences associated with chronic Lyme disease, issues related to social media use and mental health among college students. And most recently, I've had the opportunity to work with students on the topic of student experiences and encounters with overdose. So I'll talk a little bit more about these and I can answer questions on them later. But what I really want to get to are the different project types that you could have the opportunity to work on and some of the funding opportunities you might have access to, because who doesn't love a little extra spending money? Just kidding, it's not spending money, it goes toward your research or obligations. But these are just great opportunities that we have through the college. And I'm going to start with project types because I think the great thing about these different project types is that they often involve different degrees of commitment, responsibility, and sort of leadership. So here at the college, we have a number of different types of research you can become involved in. For example, we might have independent studies where you might work one-on-one with a faculty member for an entire semester, where you kind of develop a syllabus where you do maybe a bunch of readings and kind of look into a topic in depth just together with that faculty member. We also have what are called research apprenticeships, where you may have the opportunity to kind of come on board on a faculty member's research project and kind of learn from them about the research process. We also have bachelor's essays, which are a great way to really do an in-depth analysis of something that you're interested in just on your own. And that's a 2-semester long commitment, but the end result is sort of a final hard copy of something that you can share then with future either graduate programs you might be interested in or future employers that might be interested in kind of seeing what kind of work you've done. And then we also have something that I like to refer to as interdisciplinary, collaborative, and team student-faculty research efforts. And these are those research projects that don't necessarily fit some set course number or some set hour number commitment. These are those passion projects where you're talking to a colleague or you're talking to one of your faculty members and you say, I'm really interested in this, and the faculty member says, me too. Let's figure out what to do about it. And so I have had the opportunity to do a number of different projects along these lines as part of what's called the Women's Health Research Team here at the college. And this is an interdisciplinary team who is committed to understanding issues related to gender and health, and specifically unique health issues that women may face. But as a part of this team, I have seen projects go in multiple different directions. And so as a part of this team, I've gotten to learn from colleagues and from students across disciplines. And so while I'm in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, I often get to work with students who are also in humanities and social sciences, who are working with students who are also perhaps in the School of Public Health or who may be in communications. So it's a really nice way to meet people across schools and also across disciplines. And then who doesn't love hearing about cash opportunities? These are not cash opportunities in the way that we might think of spending money, but there are funding opportunities available to students doing research with faculty. And I've listed a couple of those here that are available through the Undergraduate Research and Creative Activities Office. I have been fortunate to be working with students who have received a number of these different awards. And the good news here is that although these funds are allocated toward research expenses, that doesn't mean that they can't cover the cost of actual hours spent on research. So some of this grant money is actually allocated toward students spending their time doing these research activities. So the Summer Undergraduate Research with Faculty grant there, the second one down, is a 10-week program in the summer where students actually receive a stipend to work on research. So the idea is that they, by hopefully compensating them for the time spent working on the research, they don't necessarily have to get that additional employment that they might have to otherwise be doing in the summer. So the last thing I want to talk to you about, which is what I think they wanted me to talk about, is the project that I was recently involved in on the topic of students' experiences with overdose. And so this project was sort of initiated by undergraduate student Duncan Weller, who actually brought on board another undergraduate student named Ann Scully, who's actually now in nursing school. And then, of course, I was working with colleague Christy Cloth-Catano on this project as well. And I'm going to let you, I've put, in true faculty member form, put way too much text on this slide, but this is what we might call a structured abstract, which basically gives some of the background of this study. But more important, I think, to you is what kind of opportunities you would get out of these research sort of experiences. And so Duncan, in pursuing this research, had the opportunity to not only analyze data and look at the results, which is, I think, what a lot of us think of when we think of research. But Duncan has also had the opportunity to develop survey questionnaires to actually recruit for studies using sort of the ethical guidelines that we use in research when we're working with human subjects. In addition to doing that data analysis and finding out kind of what the results of the study are, which is of course always very exciting, Duncan had the opportunity to present his research here at the college at what's called the Celebration of Scholars program or platform. This year was electronic, so it's a little hard to discuss, but usually it's a poster session, but this year it was pre-recorded sessions on Zoom. So the last thing I want to leave you with before ending my remarks here is that although the study findings are also really important, I talked with Duncan last week just to see if he had any thoughts. And one of the things he wanted me to share with you all was that Duncan never imagined he would be doing this level of research as an undergrad. Duncan was always aspiring to be a physician, and he was very interested in medicine, but never did he imagine he would be interested in overdose. He kind of fell into that interest area after having heard of friends or knowing friends who had experiences with overdose, and it kind of struck him. But as an aspiring physician, Duncan later went on to apply to med school and specifically wanted me to share that despite his average, or he would probably say slightly below average MCAT scores, his medical school admissions committees were so impressed by his research experience and said that, and I quote, he was the most published or cited student applicant they have had. And that to me is just really exciting because I don't think, having set forth on this project, he imagined that that would really do so much for his long-term career plans. And yet now, having gotten into med school, I can't say where yet, but he's just really thrilled because he thinks that these research efforts are really going to make him a stronger physician in the long run. And so I'm happy to field questions later. I've probably gone over my time, but thanks for listening. And again, welcome to the college.
So thank you very much, Professor Hatterberg. I mean, that was great. Hopefully, you guys took away that research can be fun. I mean, I was starting to get excited there with her talk. And then, the story about Duncan is such a good one because this type of information looks great on your applications for graduate school. And think about it, like I've written hundreds of letters of recommendation, and I can write a lot better letter if I worked on a research project with a student or I'm familiar with their work than if they only were in a class with me. And so again, if you come to the College of Charleston, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to engage with faculty and do this kind of work. And so I want to turn things over now to Professor Gary Jackson, who's going to talk some about student advising and mentoring.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks Gibbs for that introduction and for inviting me here tonight. So I'm Professor Gary Jackson. I've been teaching here for about 7 years now. The time just flies by, and I teach primarily in the English department and African American Studies and creative writing. Creative writing is my kind of focus here, and primarily poetry courses. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about how we approach advising here, especially in HSS and in the English department. So I'll try to be brief, but I'll start with kind of just basics, right? So the model here is fairly student-centered in the fact that we assign advisors primarily based on their areas of discipline, right? So speaking for me, most, if not all of my students are creative writing minors or concentrators. And if they're not, they are certainly majoring or minoring in English. And I thought I would just bring up really quick with the screen share. I can kind of show you just really quickly, like this is the main page to the English department. So for those prospective students out there, like you can just scroll down. Sorry, I'm going so fast. If you go all the way to the bottom, you will see kind of like hot off the presses, we have a list of our English course descriptions coming up in the fall, and advising worksheets. And I think you can probably see that, but these are the fall courses offering. So any student can come look and kind of get a feel for what the courses that we're offering at any given time in the English department are. From there, usually students reach out to their faculty advisor, which is me, if it's creative writing. And typically, we are kind of your advisor will be, like I said, firmly rooted in your discipline. So you'll have us instead of, say, like I think other schools will probably have a more general advisor, right? And so I think there's a lot of advantages to that. I mean, for one, we kind of serve as, we're much more better equipped to advise students on their specific concentration, right? Since we're already either teaching the classes that the students are taking, or all of our colleagues are teaching those classes, we can kind of give the student a little bit more, I would say, kind of personal or, advice that really kind of helps them make decisions in terms of what courses are open for them to take. Also, we can help connect students to resources. And just to speak a little bit more personally, if I talk about my own experience as an advisor, I have often directed students to gaining resources at places like the Office of Institutional Diversity, student support services that include things like student health services, Office of Victim Services, Center for Disability Services, et cetera. Because you'll find out a lot of times, as an advisor, a lot of my students, a lot of my advisees, their questions are about, registration and degree audits and maybe all the typical things you think when it comes to, knowing what courses I need to take and having someone there to help. But also a lot of my experience as an advisor has been almost as much dedicated to things going on outside of those concerns, right? And so, students, if during the middle of the semester something comes up and they don't know who to talk to, I'm kind of there as a person that can kind of direct them towards services or resources that may help them with what they're going through, even if I myself may not be able to. And a lot of times I think my role as an advisor is just to kind of help empower the students, to help them realize like there are resources out there and it's easier than students might sometimes think. And that may even be something as simple as, I had a student once who just had a simple question about, they were interested, I think, in maybe minoring in psychology, but they didn't know anything about it. And I was like, I bet I know who knows something about it, maybe the chair of the psychology department. And so just kind of directing the student to reach out to this person and contact them. And they're like, oh, of course, yes, that makes total sense. And so, I mean, ultimately, too, one of the things with being in creative writing is that your students also have questions about their major or minor, which is happening across all disciplines. And I think in this day and age, students may have, a lot of questions about what to do with a liberal arts degree, right? Or what to do with their sociology degree. And I think as an advisor, my role is also to kind of help encourage and make students feel confident in the disciplines that they're majoring and minoring in and concentrating in. And so, my other role is kind of as cheerleader, right? And I don't mean that in a superfluous way, but just reassuring a student that if you get a degree in something like creative writing, that does open up avenues in other things, whether it's advertising, working in nonprofits, speech writing. I've helped students fill out internships to work in like editorial jobs at different publishing houses, or, maybe somewhere up in New York, but also just smaller places that are even here in the South, in South Carolina. And I think I've went over my time, so I won't say too much more, except for when in doubt, and I think this is the reason why my department likes me as an advisor, because I try very much to make sure I have the right answer. And if I know I don't, I know exactly who to reach out to figure out who that person is. And usually it's our dear associate chair, which at the moment is Dr. William Russell, who I think some of you may be seeing later tonight. But that's my time. And if people have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Jackson. And again, if you have questions about advising, certainly put those in the chat and we'll get to them. So you're going to start out with an advisor right when you get admitted, but once you declare a major, and for some people, they're going to declare a major as soon as they make the decision to enroll at the College of Charleston. Other folks might take some classes and poke around and maybe declare a major at the end of their first year, at the end of their second year. Once you declare a major, you get a faculty advisor. And again, Professor Jackson did such a great job of reiterating, but it's more than just selecting your classes. I mean, obviously your faculty advisor is going to help you if you have questions about classes, but it's also about helping you think about, how what you're learning can help sort of get you to that next stage in life or help you prepare for graduate school or all those types of things. And so again, great job. I now want to turn things over to Professor Celeste LaCroix in the Department of Communication, who is going to talk about study abroad. And maybe she'll probably tell us how many study abroad students she's taken out of the country or how many study abroad experiences she's been involved with. I know it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. In fact, I really can't quantify how many students have participated, but I can tell you that this very month marks the 20th anniversary of my first study abroad program at the College of Charleston. So I've been teaching and directing in study abroad for 20 years, and it's my great privilege to be able to do this. And I'm super excited to talk to all of you about it. And I want to join with everyone else and say congratulations. And I'm also going to share the screen for a moment here with a couple of slides. Study abroad at the College of Charleston is an amazing opportunity. And in HSS in particular, we have lots and lots of study abroad opportunities for students. And so I just wanted to give you a little glimpse into the variety of amazing, engaging, immersive experiences that the faculty in HSS regularly provide to students. Of course, this past year, notwithstanding. We're all very sad that we haven't been able to travel abroad in the past year, but we are cautiously optimistic about the coming fall semester and certainly beyond. So I just want to tell you a little bit about all the different kinds of programs, and you can see pictures here from programs in Irish studies, from English faculty members, from faculty members in political science, faculty members in psychology. I don't want to leave any of my colleagues out from any of the departments in HSS in religious studies. And you can see that they've been to places in Africa, in Asia, you see pictures from India and beyond. And so I just wanted to kind of focus in a little bit to tell you that the variety of HSS faculty-led programs take kind of two major forms or happen in two major forms, and that's summer programs and fall semester programs. And in summer programs, typically there are dozens of opportunities every summer. Those programs tend to be shorter, so 3 to 5 weeks long. They might be based in a single site. So for instance, Dr. Joe Kelly, who is in the English department, but also directs the Irish Studies program, has a study abroad program in the summer in Ireland. It's based in Dublin. It's amazing. It's interdisciplinary. So there are faculty members from different departments in HSS and some from other schools who teach courses. And then the program takes students around Ireland. But you might have a multi-site program in the summer, like a colleague of mine in communication regularly takes students to Spain, Greece, and Italy, all in the same program. Or there might be an opportunity to go to Morocco and Spain. And so the summer programs can be single site or multi-site and go to a wide variety of destinations, many in Europe, but also in Africa and in Asia. In religious studies, there's been a program in India. We have a faculty colleague in psychology that has taken students to 2 different countries in Africa in a summer program. And so there's lots of variety there and a great way to spend your summer traveling. I also want to talk about the fall semester programs that are currently being offered in HSS. I happen to be involved with both of those, so I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about those particular programs at the end of the program. But our two fall semester programs are both interdisciplinary, and these are 2.5 to 3 month or longer programs, and are generally single site, which means that we're based in one place in one country, but that we often take group trips together, and that students normally have free time, long weekends, and even maybe a fall break of a week or more to be able to travel to other countries on their own. So the two programs that I'm involved in are a Florence, Italy program and a Trujillo, Spain program. In Florence, we've had faculty members from history, women's and gender studies, from the English department, who also teach in film studies and communication as part of our complement of faculty members who have taught in the Florence program. Their students live together in apartments, and we also have a sustainability theme for the Florence study abroad program. So we have a focus on the slow food movement, which was really founded in Italy, but is an international movement dedicated toward good, fair, clean food for everyone. And so in our slow food focus in Florence, we take weekly field trips that are super exciting, and we do things that the students really hate, like taste artisanal chocolate, go to artisanal cheese makers, visit wineries that are functioning in a fully sustainable way. We also travel together to a big international event sponsored by Slow Food, and the students are then also able to travel around Italy and elsewhere in Europe on their own. I also want to talk a little bit about the Trujillo program, which is one of the longest standing study abroad sites that the college has had a program in. So it's more than 20 years of CofC in Trujillo. There are a couple of different Trujillo programs, but one of them is, as I mentioned earlier, an interdisciplinary program in humanities and social sciences. And Trujillo is truly a magical place. We're planning a program for this fall. And just to give you an idea, our students in Trujillo live with families. They take classes in an award-winning restored former convent. They are in a place that's of great cultural importance in Spain. So people from all over Spain come to Trujillo to visit, and certainly people from all over Europe, because it is kind of a tourist destination. And in this experience, students are truly immersed in life in Spain because they live with families. And I could tell you that our students, our alums of this program, still talk to their host families in most cases. They develop a really close bond with them. And in fact, we have several students who have married Spaniards and who now live there. So it's a place where students become a part of the Trujillo family. They truly become Trujillanos. And the experience in Trujillo and also in Florence, one of the things that that Sarah was talking about is everybody likes to know about money and funding. And the great thing at the College of Charleston is we have a very supportive Center for International Education that has a whole range of scholarship opportunities. So especially for faculty-led programs, there are opportunities to have additional scholarship money in addition to whatever financial aid package you might have. And that often applies fully to our faculty-led CofC programs. So it's also affordable. Students take classes with CofC faculty members in our fall interdisciplinary programs. And so on the screen, you can see that students in the Trujillo program, for instance, might be taking classes on Hemingway in Spain, or on Spanish films, on comparative gender politics or Spanish food policy. We offer classes in travel writing, and I routinely teach a class in cross-cultural communication. And all of these courses are meant to help the students navigate their immersive experience and what life is like, and to make their understanding of the culture even more robust, so that, while they're traveling, they also understand, the context, the history, and the culture, and the value systems, and all of the different elements of the culture, and getting that deeper understanding that the faculty members in their courses can provide. So, am I a huge fan of study abroad? I hope you can tell that I am, and I'm an advocate of it. And I certainly encourage every student who comes to the College of Charleston to think about study abroad. And in humanities and social sciences, you really have a unique opportunity, because we have some of the best study abroad programs there are at the college. So I truly hope that you will join us for a program really soon. And whatever questions you have, I'm more than happy to answer them now, or at any point when you arrive on campus. You'll find me at study abroad fairs and in the Department of Communication. So come and see me.
Thank you very much, Professor LaCroix. And again, I got to teach abroad in 2010 in the Netherlands, and I still look back so fondly on that experience. And I probably talked to dozens of students who've studied abroad, and I probably am going to regret that. I've never had a student say they didn't have a great experience. It really is. Usually it's life-changing. I think about my studies in a completely different way. It's just a really, really great experience. So I want to turn things over now to Professor Jonathan Neufeld, who is an associate professor of philosophy and going to talk about curricular and co-curricular organizations.
Hi, thanks everyone for being here, and thanks for having me. So as Gibbs just said, I'm Jonathan Neufeld. I'm in the philosophy department. And what I'm going to concentrate on, I'm going to give you a snapshot of a particular co-curricular activity that I lead, so you can get a sort of rich picture of a particular kind of opportunity that you can have at the college. So just first, as an opening, the college has so many, you go to your classes throughout the day, but there are so many opportunities that have both something to do with academics or something to do just with your interest in life that the college has to offer across a wide range of interests and across a wide range of activities. And they go from being highly organized events to being just more casual events that will pop up across the college. So you can take a look at, for example, the student organizations that we have on campus, extracurricular student organizations that will touch on nearly any interest that you can imagine. So we have, I think, 240-ish student organizations, extracurricular student organizations. And these are organized by students with a faculty mentor, a faculty liaison, but they're driven by student interests. So you can look and see probably your interests already represented. If you don't see your interests represented, you can go where your imagination takes you and make an organization and generate an organization yourself and run it how you want to run it. The example that I want to talk, so for example, there's in philosophy, it's a relatively small major, small but dedicated major. We have two organizations. We have Women in Philosophy and we have a philosophy club. And each of them meet a few times a term to talk about whatever topics they are interested in talking about. I know political science has several clubs. Political science club, they have a mock UN, and each department that you'll be in will have at least one club dedicated to something to do with the major. So on when you come to any college really, but the College of Charleston in particular, it's almost for someone who's interested in a wide variety of topics, which when you're in the humanities and social sciences, you almost invariably are. It's a highly interdisciplinary school. There are talks and events happening all the time. So every week there are too many things to do. And there are, which is a good problem to have. And so part of what's interesting about going to some of the talks and some of the events, some of the movie showings where one of your professors will give an introduction or have a discussion afterward, is to see what your professors do in their academic life when they're not teaching, what they sort of nerd out about when they're with their colleagues and with the studies that they get very excited about. And so I lead a group called, so I do philosophy, and I do philosophy of art and aesthetics. So the thing that I like to think about is the way that art participates in political movements and political protest, for example. So I run a group called the Aesthetics Work Group, and I'm going to share my screen and see how that goes. And this group is an interdisciplinary group of can you see that all right? Good. Interdisciplinary group of professors and students who are just interested in the arts in general. And we meet a few times a term and we talk about works in progress. And so what the group offers an opportunity to do is to sit around a table and with professors from German, from philosophy, from political science, and with students from a wide variety of both the arts and the humanities and social sciences, and to work slowly and in detail and for fun with somebody who's working through a piece of work. So for example, we have had, so this term, just last week actually, we had Kara Tovey from the German department, who is writing a paper about deaf identity and deaf performance in theater. And she gave us a talk, she gave us a paper in advance, we all read it, and we sat down, well, we're each in our houses now. It's usually a little bit more exciting than meeting over Zoom. And we talk about and ask questions about the paper. And the nice thing about the group is that it is democratic, and the professors are just like the students, and questions come equally from each of them. And if it's a professor, as it was in this case, who is working on a project, they take criticism and take advice and take questions as much from students as they do from professors. And so you see what it is to be a professor, and you see what it is to do work. So it's a very sort of close co-curricular activity where you get to see a professor doing the sort of thing that you're going to be doing in class about something that they care very much about. And so the group has yielded a bunch of interesting topics. So you can see a bunch of the titles that we have here. A couple of last year we talked about bathroom stall graffiti and whether it's related to street art and whether it's can be considered artistic, and if it's or the extent to which it can contribute to safe spaces on campus, for example. We've had visitors from the Pratt Institute of Art and Design in New York, from Columbia University in New York, from the University of Helsinki in Finland, from Utah State University in Utah. So you get a wide variety of exposure to a wide variety of people with a wide variety of interests who are just hanging out and talking about topics that they want to because they want to. So the example of the aesthetics work group can be mapped on to a number of different clubs and activities across the college. If you want to study something, think about something, do research in something, just chat about something, you can have the opportunity, and the opportunities will be opened up for you with the help of faculty who really like working with students. It's so much more fun to teach and so exciting to be a professor when you have students who, which you invariably do, who are interested in something that you haven't thought about before. Latrinalia. I didn't know there was a word, latrinalia. This is the graffiti in a bathroom stall. Until a student came to me and said, hey, can we talk about this? I said, yeah, sure. I have this group where we can talk. So again, in a number of different disciplines, in a number of different departments across the college, you have professors who are just waiting to see what you're interested in, to have activities like this. You have and you'll meet students with interests that you share, that you might not know you have, and you might be able to organize your own group and pursue your own interests. So thanks, and I'm looking forward to meeting you when you come.
Thank you very much, Professor Neufeld. So I'm the advisor for two way less intellectual clubs. I'm the faculty advisor for South Carolina Politics Club and the Barbecue Club. So nice. Students were interested in studying barbecue as a cultural phenomenon, and they asked me if I'd be their advisor, and I've never been more honored. So yes. And our final presenter today is Professor Sarah Robertson, who's a psychology professor, and she's going to talk some about internship opportunities. Professor Robertson.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here and to be able to talk to you about internships and the importance of really pursuing an internship opportunity during your undergraduate career. My name is Dr. Sarah Robertson. I'm a clinical psychologist. I am trained in mental health processes, have a real interest in studying anxiety, depression, and adulthood, and I'm also a licensed psychologist. But I really am excited about our conversation tonight because I get to share with you what it's like to watch students be involved with a course in our department called the Internship Experience. This is a really unique class that I've been teaching for the last several years, and it's unique for so many reasons, but probably the biggest reason is that this is a class where students actually spend most of their time outside of the classroom as opposed to inside the four walls of our campus. So students in this class, as a part of this class, are connected to organizations all throughout the Charleston community, organizations that our department has long established relationships with. I wanted to mention a few of them to you just so you have a sense of where our interns get placed throughout the Charleston County. So one really special place is called the National Crime Victims Center. It's located at MUSC in downtown Charleston. It is a nationally recognized clinic that helps people who are victims of trauma, so both children and adults. So it's a very trauma-focused center. We have interns placed at public schools throughout Charleston County. We have an intern, for example, at Camp Road Middle School, which is a middle school on James Island, as well as Orange Grove Charter School, which is an elementary school throughout in Charleston County also. So for students interested in school psychology as a career, it's definitely a wonderful opportunity to be an intern on site at one of these schools. I'll also mention D. Norton, which is an organization downtown. It's a child advocacy center, and they have a really important job. That job is to assess whether or not child abuse and neglect is occurring in households. And so our interns actually get to observe these forensic interviews as they happen and learn what it's like to try to make really important assessments about the safety of a child's atmosphere and environment. I'll also mention the Couples and Family Clinic at the Charleston VA. So it's located within the VA and offers veterans services and support for connecting and integrating well with their family members. If they're in distress in their relationship or in their family in any way, this is a clinic that offers psychological services, empirically supported psychological services. There are others on our list, but I just wanted to give you a snapshot of some of the places that our students are connected to in the community. And so students in this class participate in activities at these sites for a total of 120 hours over the course of the semester. And then it's really, I think, a nice balance between on-site experience and classroom experience, because I, as their faculty mentor, help supervise and guide them through some academic projects throughout the semester as well. I get to help them with resume building, for example, with preparing for interviews and what that process is like. But it's really meant to get students prepared for the transition to the real world. It's a really important time in the life of an undergraduate student to start thinking about what's coming next and how do I, make myself most competitive for the next thing that I want to accomplish. I've been teaching this course, as I mentioned, for the last several years. I've really had the privilege of watching students get these firsthand experiences. It's wonderful for students to learn something in the classroom. It's something extra wonderful, I think, when they have the opportunity to actually apply that theory and apply that knowledge in a real world setting. And so that's what our psychology internship experience course is all about, providing students with these rich hands-on experiential opportunities. I know I've already reached my 5-minute limit, but I want to mention one more thing to you. I want to share my screen here and show you a picture of a recent intern. This is Molly. Can everybody see this picture up here? I just wanted to mention Molly's story a little bit. This is Molly Wilson. She took the psychology internship experience course last semester and has provided the following quote for us. So she says that Psych 397 gave me the opportunity to expand my knowledge on the broad field of psychology through gaining hands-on experience. I had the pleasure of interning at the Couples and Family Clinic at the Charleston VA, and I can honestly say it was one of the most incredible experiences. I was hesitant at first because it was my first hands-on opportunity in the field of psychology, but I was pleasantly surprised with the growth and development that I had over the course of the semester. I had the pleasure of attending research meetings, clinical meetings, data logging, and sitting in on assessments with the couples. Not only is the course organized, but as a second semester senior graduating in only a couple of months, the department at CofC has strengthened my passion and knowledge for pursuing psychology. And I also want to briefly mention that when I talked to Molly recently to get her permission to share this with you, she informed me that in the next week she has an interview for a doctoral program in psychology, and she's just really thrilled about the next step in her career. So that was a lot of info packed into 5 minutes, but I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Roberts. And again, all of our departments offer internship opportunities. You can do internships for credit. You can do internships not for credit. And I also want to make sure, I always think this is important to let incoming students know about, there are great opportunities to work on campus and get valuable experience as well. We have students working in departmental offices. We've got a couple of phenomenal student workers in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. And so, wherever you end up at college, we hope it's College of Charleston, of course, look into different student employment opportunities on campus. It's a great way to get some experience and also make a little bit of extra money. And so keep putting your questions. We've got a few minutes before we do our breakout sessions where you guys can, and again, we're going to post in the chat the different Zoom links depending on what major you're interested in. But Sophie Baum has a question about study abroad, and Sophie wants to know, so this is probably for Professor LaCroix, the study abroad program options differ by school at the College of Charleston. And so how do they differ maybe between social HSS and the School of Business, the School of Education? Can you speak to that a little bit, Professor LaCroix?
Sure, yeah. So there are similarities. So for instance, most of the schools have faculty who offer summer programs and some who offer semester programs. So there are obviously those kinds of similarities. And then there are some things that that do differ among them. So some of them might be internship based experiences. So our colleagues in the German department have a summer program that is an internship study abroad experience. And some of them are, as I mentioned, programs that are more geared toward moving to or through different cultures, and some are more designed for that immersive experience. But most of the schools have programs in different disciplines. And again, some are interdisciplinary within the school, and then there are some that are interdisciplinary between schools. So
Would you say you're mostly taking classes in your major or your minor when you're studying abroad in a faculty-led program, or is that not even necessarily the case?
I would say in the programs that I've been participating in, most students take both classes in their major and classes outside of their major. And of course, in our HSS interdisciplinary programs, we encourage that. So we want students to be able to take courses offered by our colleagues that could be of interest to them. So, and it also depends on the length of the program. So summer programs might only offer 1 or 2 courses in that sort of condensed period of time, whereas semester programs, students would be able to take a full load of 4 or 5 classes.
Okay, so stay with us. We have another study abroad question from LEP. She wants to know, do you have to be, she probably thought these were so awesome. She's like, do you have to be in HSS to participate in the study abroad opportunities that you talked about?
No, you don't always have to be a student who's majoring in one of the disciplines in HSS, because oftentimes the courses you could take and study abroad might count towards general education. I know in the Department of Communication, we try to encourage students from outside of communication to take our courses abroad. So yeah, I think there are some cases where study abroad program courses have prerequisite structures. So this is within a particular department in order to be able to take a course offered in a study abroad program, but not always.
Great. Okay, so we had a question from Ian, and Ian wants to know, and this is not a study abroad question, but how does your potential major, Ian, we know you're going to pick a major in HSS, but how does your potential major and advisor work with the Honors College? And that's a great question. Maybe I'll start answering that, and then if one of our panelists would like to weigh in. And so you will have an advisor in the Honors College that can help you talk through the honors requirements. But as soon as you declare a major, you're also going to have a major within that academic program. And so, you know, you're going to get additional advising, which I think is a good thing. And, you know, you're going to have both an honors major who helps you with your honors college classes and an academic major. Does anybody have anything to add to that? Is that pretty much accurate? Anybody who has
Yeah, I think, that's pretty accurate. Like I you know, when I'm advising students, usually there's like 2 or 3 different, you know, advisors that they also have listed if they're majoring and minoring in honors college, especially, but other interdisciplinary studies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that gets our questions, but before you jump into our things, I thought maybe a final question for the panelists, maybe in a word or two. You guys have shared so many unique opportunities, but kind of going in the order that you talked, in a word or two, you know, what do you think makes CofC and HSS such a special place to work and study? So Professor Hatterberg, you want to
The students, absolutely.
The students? Yeah,
students.
that's a one word too. That's good. That's very good. Professor Jackson, a word or two.
Deepened your empathy to place everyone. Yeah.
Good. Okay. What about you, Professor LaCroix?
Sarah stole mine, but I would say collaborative.
Yeah, between collaboration between faculty and staff, between students and faculty.
Yeah.
Great.
All of the above.
Professor Neufeld?
Enthusiastic curiosity, both on the side of students and faculty.
Yeah, that's great. And what about you, Professor Robertson?
I would say that the individualized learning experiences, the one-on-one relationships between faculty members and students, that's where I think the money is.
Great. All right. Well, thank you again. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you very much for spending your time with us. And as you can see in the chat, we're dropping in those individual breakout sessions for all 11 of our majors. We really encourage you to jump into one of those, and you'll have an opportunity to meet with a leader from the department, perhaps the program director, perhaps the department chair, perhaps the associate chair, and ask all the questions you have about that major. But thank you very much, and please join one of our sessions.